Okay.
While you have the Monroney out,
yes,
I'll just start right there.
Okay.
This has some Volvo-esque things about it because Polestar used to be a Volvo performance brand, but it's Volvo-esque in the number of words involved to say what this is.
The Performance Plus dual motor.
Yes.
Polestar 2, 78 kilowatt. All-wheel drive, lots of power. EV, BEV, the first BEV that is on a commercial scale.
We have not driven the Polestar EV prior. Now, Polestar used to be like M to BMW, used to be like the performance trim or the performance tune of a Volvo.
Yeah.
And then Volvo, under their Geely Chinese overlords, decided to go all EV with this brand. So,
Overlords?
Am I wrong?
No.
So they decided to make Polestar an all EV luxury brand. This, if you want to think about it, is a competitor to the Model 3.
For sure. In every way.
It is a little bit more expensive than the Model 3, but the base version of this Polestar actually has a little more miles of range than the base Model 3. Of course, we're not in the base one because that's not what they sent us, which we're thankful for.
Right.
This is the dual motor Performance Plus, 78 kilowatt battery, and it's got, what is it? It's about 250 miles because the all-wheel drive has a motor in the front axle and the rear axle, so it doesn't have the 300 plus miles of the lesser version. But you wind up with more power, which is typically pretty good.
Great cars, great roads, and all the reasons we love to drive.
Road trips, comparisons, test drives, and podcasts. This is Everyday Driver.
Speaking of power, 455 horsepower, 546 pound-feet of torque, which is a lot, but we knew that. EVs have a lot of torque. So right down here on the menu, you will see there's not a lot of tuning. There's not a lot of going from soft to sport or comfort to hardcore. All you get is sport mode, and it turns ESC off, and you get your choice of steering feel. Right now you're enjoying the firm.
But here, I'm going to go to light steering, and truthfully, there is a significant change.
Okay.
And light steering is that super light feel that you can get in a lot of modern cars where it's just, there's almost no resistance at all. I'm a person that doesn't like that, so I went up to the firm steering, and to be honest, look, it's not like I gained steering feel, but the
steering resistance.
Exactly. The fact that it created resistance, I actually do prefer the firm steering feel. Sport mode, no sport mode, whatever. It's fast either way. We're talking 0 to 60 in the low 4s here. In fact, I'm going to take this guy.
Take him.
Yeah.
Take him.
Goodbye, sir. I mean, look, sedans don't need power like this. They don't.
It's quick.
But this is the reason that EVs shine, is because you start to have this effortless power. We've talked about it in all kind of EVs, and that is compelling. There's no considering passing people. There's no, do I have enough room? There's no, how fast can I be? You're just gone. And we've all sat at the light behind some EV that just decides they'll walk everybody because they can. It's not even a rarity now.
I'm going
Can
to...
you find recirc before we get to the serious problem up ahead that needs it?
I'm not sure.
I don't think you're going to get there. I don't think you can find it fast enough.
Recirc.
Whoa, that was close.
Whoa.
Right before the dust storm. I'm not even sure the panels had a chance to close. Speaking of the HVAC system, I have a rant incoming. It is springtime.
This is going to be good.
In Park City.
Yes.
Okay, which means it's maybe 50, 60 degrees. Now this has a all-glass roof, which does mean that the sun is going to say hello often.
It's an oven door. No,
you are not
this is a magnifying glass.
You were not a fan of the oven door.
No, thank you. It hurts.
But the problem that I have is it's always about screen placement versus vent placement. Once we got to huge screens like this is every car manufacturer on the planet, I've said it before, screen placement versus vent placement is an issue because Texas exists, Arizona exists, heck, Dubai exists, okay? Places that are going to get well into triple digits all summer. And we haven't even gotten to the hot part of the summer here, and it has been difficult to cool this car off because the primary vents that are typically around your screen are up here. They're under the they're under you at the camera. They are on the upper part of the dash.
Yeah, I've never seen them on top of the
You cannot actually aim them at your face. It's not possible to aim them at your face. That is a huge fail. I understand. I mean, they leaned into this as a Volvo. It's not really a Volvo, but they leaned into this as a Volvo. It says 1950-something on the seatbelt.
It's 1959 on the seatbelt buckle.
Yeah, not the case. I understand that Sweden doesn't have a whole lot of 100-degree days, but the rest of the world does.
That's true.
This is a terrible vent placement. Honestly, one of the worst I've seen to actually efficiently cool the cabin. And if you are a person that lives in a place that gets really hot, you want to point the vents at your face, you can't. You simply can't. Look, I want to do the flip side, pros and cons in all cases. There is nothing wrong with how this drives. The fact that I've got it set into the firm steering mode, that actually just pleases me. There's plenty of power, frankly, more than you need in a car like this. The back seats are good. There's a decent trunk, a little bit of extra in the front. This is very usable. It feels very well put together. The stuff we like about Volvos right now is evident here.
Yeah, I hear you.
But it has a slightly different interior feel that I would say I much prefer over something like a Tesla. This actually feels designed and modern without feeling stark.
It feels like a car.
It does, but it also feels like somebody sat here and thought about the interface. I've got a normal gauge cluster here. Of course, it's a digital screen. And then my big vertical screen here. I have options. This is a very nice place to be. I cannot argue that. I just can't get cold enough because the vents they're here. I can't express it to you well enough how frustrating those vents are.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit about styling, because Volvo has gotten very good at sculptural surfaces over the years, and they've changed their image from being the box the car came in to being actually a stylish, good-looking car. That has been going on for 20 years at least, and now with this new styling, it's different than the Model 3 in a very good way. It is not faceless, even though it's an EV. So look at the front of this car. It still has a face, it still has a character and a personality to it, and a very distinct EV shape, or I guess a very distinct car style, whether EV or ICE car.
It also differentiates itself from the Volvo lineup.
It does, but it also differentiates itself from many of the Chinese EVs that you're seeing worldwide. This actually still has hints of Volvo, so you kind of see it a little bit. But then Polestar, of course, now is the performance brand, and it does fit very well with the EV kind of ethos that they're doing here. And you walk around the back, the same thing applies. Very clean, purposeful, Scandinavian. I think furniture. Whenever I look at the exterior interior of this car, I just think great looking, well-designed furniture. So when you do get in, this is a luxury interior. The price is just under $70,000, which I think 70 grand, $70,000. People are buying these. That's a lot of money. People are buying Model 3s and Model Ys for almost the same kind of money.
Yes, true.
That is not okay. That is too far. No. But the Polestar is kind of a balance between the two. It needs to be nice.
Absolutely.
And it's much nicer than the Tesla Model 3 or Y, or really any Tesla ever to date.
Totally agree. Yes, totally agree.
But it actually is, good style, good materials. And what I'm noticing the most about the instrument panel here is ambient everything, and that has to do with the air too. So the ambient lighting under the dash at night, you will see this floating panel. Well, it's lit up from behind, so it kind of illuminates. It's that backlight behind a panel. So on one hand, that means you don't ever have to line up surfaces. That's great for the design team.
Very funny. Good point. You're right.
You don't ever have to be precise with your manufacturing. It is. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Because you'll see the air vents and you'll see a lot of things. They do feel very, very crisp and manufactured.
This definitely feels really well put together, I have to say.
It does.
For
but
sure.
Look how where the drivetrain is right here. This is a floating panel above. This is a floating panel. And so that's ambient lighting, but what Volvo is doing here, Polestar, Volvo, Geely, Lotus, what are we talking about?
All of the above. Check.
They're doing ambient air here, where you are used to having a vent blasting in your face.
Yes.
Which I don't like, but I need air. And it is cooling down in here. The big problem is this stupid magnifying glass that's cooking us like ants. It should have some sort of cover. Electrochromic is fine.
And I will say, if it does, we have been unable to find it, and we dug. So if maybe you're sitting here going, guys, it's right under menu panel 45, but I just, it's not straightforward. I know we're looking again. Yeah. By the way, did you realize on the last screen, on the actual screen, there was the standard power icon? You could power off the vehicle from the screen. I'm going to go with no. What was wrong with starting cars? Sorry, side rant. What was wrong with starting cars?
I don't know.
I want to open and close my own door, and I'd like to start the car when I request. Anyway.
Roadside collision.
Doesn't matter.
Ready to drive. Drive.
Nope.
Charge,
I appreciate your efforts.
Where?
Well, and there's nothing here either. Now, it's got Apple CarPlay, it's got the full Google Suite, all of that works very well. The screen is responsive, which is very nice. Little animations when you hop screens. This feels incredibly well put together. I have to say that I don't know that you look at this interior and instantly think $70,000, but the quality of it is very high. And it's Volvo related, so that means the seats are superb. The seats are very, very good. And Volvo has nailed how to do heated and cooled seats that have a slim profile. Nobody else has seemed to have figured that out. Volvo has been doing it for a while, and their seats are superb.
They really are. The interior is really excellent. It feels like an alternative luxury car.
Yes.
It really is good. And I like what they've done to differentiate Volvo, but Volvo at this point, it's my understanding, I'm not quite sure where things exist right now, but they've been looking, Volvo's been looking to divest Polestar as a brand, even though they're still kind of related. This is built on the CMA platform, that is the compact modular architecture platform that is shared with the Lincoln Co., that Volvo C40 that we really didn't like. I'm looking for stuff in the menu. I desperately want more, and there's just
but it's
not
also
more.
the XC40, which we do like. The C40 we didn't.
Lots of Geelys.
This redeems that a bit. Yes, Geely's because it's the parent company. I mean, this is all purpose. That M in that is doing a lot of heavy lifting. It is very modular. It's going to be the underpinnings of a lot of vehicles.
Yeah, it is. Because they came out with the Polestar 6 concept, which is not out. That's the Roadster, and I think a hardtop version of that or some derivation of that could be an interesting enthusiast EV sports car.
That would be cool. Polestar has, it's interesting, they do have their own little styling twist, which I do think is cool. And I also really like, and it's true here, and it's true of a lot of EVs, that when you don't get the all-wheel drive EV, you get a rear-wheel drive vehicle. I love that we're back to that. It's one of my favorite things. Of course, this is the all-wheel drive everything. You need to drive it.
I can't wait to drive it.
To drive.
I want more buttons. I want more stuff deep in the screen.
No, you don't want much deep. Anyway, okay. you just want to be able to cover this. But anyway.
Why can't I?
You're not a fan. I don't like the vents. You don't like the glass. Between the two of us,
I'm like sizzling.
I know. We'll sort it out. I promise. There it is.
Since 1959.
No, it isn't.
No, it isn't.
Did you notice, some cars have special badging on them to tell you what they do, and, for a long time, Volvo said turbo. Did you notice on the lower rocker here, this has a sticker that says Polestar 2, 78 kilowatt hour battery?
I was noticing that.
Is this a bragging right?
If we're doing specs, why did they stop there? It's just covered in specs all over the side of the car.
All the way down.
All the specs.
All the way down the fenders like sponsors.
Exactly right.
Everything this does for you. Yay.
Let's do that. Let's put it as a sticker option. The performance pack just gives you all the stats and specs, so people can just walk up to your car and be like, oh.
Now, I will say this. The performance pack is on here. All the packs are on here because it's just about under 79.
All the packs.
We want all the packs.
Can I go?
Yes, go. Because you got power. Go.
I do have power.
Nobody's going to get to you by the time you see. You're gone. You're gone. I mean, that's a lot of acceleration. It's a lot. The car that was gaining on us has vanished. This has the performance pack, which is interesting. You can tell that because it has the gold seat belts.
The gold belts.
But you did get more than gold belts. I do have to say. You got Öhlins dampers. You got big Brembo brakes.
Yeah, true.
You got adjustable suspension. I mean, this is good stuff here. Performance tires, bigger wheels. That's the reason that the range actually drops from over 300 to about 250 is because of the performance pack stuff. But here's the thing. This doesn't have a crashy, sporty ride.
No, which is good.
But it doesn't wallow either. They've nailed that middle ground.
This weighs at least 4,500 pounds. EVs are heavy. We know that. They mask their weight because of the electronic steering and because of the suspension.
And the
power. It doesn't feel like that. The power just overcomes the weight. Yeah, you're right. It turns in crisply. There's no steering feel.
None.
But there's some steering activity. There's inputs. You feel like I can understand what those front tires are doing. There's some feedback there, a little bit, but
it's precise and taut.
That's because of the electronics doing that. Yeah, it's got that BMW kind of initial sharp turn in.
Yes, that's a
precision,
good description. Yes, that's very good.
But I'm not feeling the road. The car's too heavy, and I'm too insulated with electronics to feel anything.
One of the things that continues to surprise me about all EVs, and this is not a slap at this car, but I was aware of it in this as well. This is a well-insulated, very nice luxury cabin. You can't escape the sheer wind noise that is happening around any car because of these mirrors that we have. I mean, this is one of the reasons that so many manufacturers want to go to little cameras and digital mirrors, because once you go to EV and you take away the engine noise, these mirrors make noise to the point that at first I thought I hadn't closed the door all the way. Seriously, that's not a slight, it's just a reality, and that's a place where EVs would really benefit from camera mirrors.
Okay, so this is fun for an EV. We're not to fun EVs yet, I don't think.
No. Fundamentally, this is a fun EV, that doesn't really exist yet. This is on the more fun side, though. I agree with you.
Of cars,
Totally.
It's more on the fun side, but we need to talk about range. I had a 50 kilowatt charger and started there because it started about 38%. But it's so funny how everybody talks with EVs in terms of range left, not in terms of battery percentage. Now, this problem applies to ICE cars too. And the car calculates, when it's a gas-powered car, the car calculates based on how you're driving, of course.
Yes.
So we're at 77% now. This says 210 miles left, but it really depends on, it more so depends on how you're driving in an EV. It's not really about the percentage of battery. But the big problem with that is, last night I was driving the car, and I drove about a mile, and the range dropped from 190 remaining to 180 within a mile, but because I was driving hard.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I was cruising at 75 miles an hour, and I kind of accelerated onto the freeway, and suddenly it dropped 10 miles of range after doing less than a mile of distance.
Interesting. Yeah, sure.
Gas cars, again, they have the same issue, because you drive a car hard, you floor it, you're driving on track, absolutely, it's the same kind of problem. But nobody really cares with a gas car because of how quickly you can fill it up. And in North America, at least the US, I'll speak for the US, the charging infrastructure just does not exist. For Todd and I, most of the chargers we've found either are low kilowatt hour charge rating, or they're broken, or they just suck. And it's not like Europe where this can be charged quickly, because Volvo claims only in 40 minutes at a 150 kilowatt charger, you can get 80% of your range.
Which is impressive.
Great.
From dead battery
Great.
to 80%, they're saying 40 minutes. But what happens in all of these EVs, and they want to give you best case scenario. But that means you've got to find a best case scenario charger. And in our area, 50 kilowatt is the fastest charger we have in our local area.
Max.
And that is if you get it on the right time and nobody else is using it and it gives you everything available. 50 is the most. Most of them are 7 to 11. This is a vehicle that is counting on you having a good charger in your home.
You have to.
So, but I have a question for you about this vehicle specifically.
Okay.
Do you think it would be any better if it wasn't an EV? Because I don't think it would be.
I don't think it would be either.
I think this is excellent as an EV, and I think if you put Volvo's standard 4-cylinder that can be supercharged and turbocharged and hybridized and everything in this, it wouldn't make it any better. But you make a good point. Because of Polestar's history, and I hadn't thought about this, because of their history as the performance side of the Volvo brand, they are uniquely positioned that if they leaned into being a performance EV brand or offered such a car, it wouldn't feel like it was weird in their lineup.
Polestar is racing derived.
Yeah, you're
from
right.
Swedish racers. That was
You're
the
right.
whole genesis of the whole brand. And it was a engineering company and a racing team, and then it was renamed to Polestar, and it's only been around as a brand for 20, 25 years, somewhere in there.
Not since 1959?
Not since 59. That's Volvo. I don't know why. Maybe the buckles were left over.
The buckles were out of the parts bin. We just had
At
some
the
Volvo
factory.
buckles, and they say 1959 on them, and they were like, oh, buckle, nobody will notice.
That's
and then
what
these two idiots
Yeah.
notice. This is the first time we've been in a Polestar product, and I'm genuinely pleased with it. Here's the thing. If you're looking at the Tesla Model Y or the Model 3, you need to cross-shop this for sure.
Oh, yes. Put all the stats on the side of the car.
Just a big
Everything.
sticker of
Yes,
stats.
all
I love
the
it.
stickers,
It's good.
all over the hood.
Love it.
The Performance
Love
Plus,
it.
the
Yep.
Performance Pack version comes with all the stickers, so you can just... Nobody has to ask you.
You'd
You
have
don't
to check a box for the sticker pack. You know you would.
You don't have to explain anymore.
If they're smart, what they'd really do is you check a box and charge them more to not put the sticker pack on. Otherwise, you are advertising everything.
That's Porsche thinking.
That is Porsche thinking. Check the box, pay more, get less. But at least there's no sticker pack. Thank God.